I'm the Vice President of Industry of the Chamber of Commerce. And in that capacity, I'm here today uh, discussing from farm to global fest, unearthing investment opportunities in Belize's agro-processing sector. Welcome to Opportunity, welcome to Belize, welcome home. It is my honor to moderate today's crucial conversation about transforming Belize's greatest strength into its greatest opportunities for global market success. Our nation stands at a geographic and economic crossroads, the nexus of CARICOM, Central America, and Mexico. This positions us not just as a producer, but as a potential agro-processing hub for the entire nation or region. While agriculture, of course, is the bedrock of our economy, a clear challenge remains. We export our wealth as raw commodities, sugar, citrus, banana, sugar, only to import them back as processed goods. This is our core opportunity to capture that value right here in Belize and at home. By investing in processing, packaging, and technology, we can turn our habaneros, for example, into sauces, our grains into packaged goods, and our seafood into premium products, creating jobs, strengthening food security, boosting exports. Over the next hour or 45 minutes, I may say our panel will explore how value-adding processing can transform Belize agricultural exports and economy, how the high-value sectors where Belize can compete regionally and globally, actionable strategies for enhancing food security through sustainable practices, and how we can strengthen institutions and perhaps partnership to support the entire agriculture value chain. They will discuss everything from innovative farming systems to export ready processing and packaging, all through the lens of Belize's unique positioning in a global trade era. I can recall the words of a recent analysis which noted that Belize does not need more polished speeches or marketing fairs, but tangible investment that builds national capacity. Together, we will move from rhetoric to reality, exploring actionable steps to build a more resilient, value-added future for Belize. Today, we are privileged to host exceptional leaders who will illuminate pathways to success and guide us in unearthing these opportunities. So let's begin. Welcome to Opportunity. Welcome to Belize. Welcome home. Today, as was introduced, we have to my left, going forward, Hugh O'Brien. He will share government perspectives and enabling environment for agro-industrial development and how policy is aligning with investment opportunities. Hugh O'Brien is the senior advisor to the Ministry of Agriculture. We have Ms. Omaira Rosant, CARDI representative, brings regional expertise from the Caribbean Agriculture Research Development Institute, particularly regarding climate resilient agriculture and technological innovation. We have Michael Boyne, President CEO of Boyne & Boyne, leads one of Belize's most diversified conglomerate with investment across food and beverages sector, a testament to successful local investment in value-added production. And we have Mr. Pancho Brown, CEO of Belcar Export and Import. He heads one of Belize's largest exporter of bean and grain, with proven success in cleaning, packaging, and exporting to CARICOM and global markets. So let's begin. Each of our panels, there's 25 minutes in relation to the discussion, of which, because we have 4 panelists, Each of them will have 6 minutes to discuss their particular area. I have 2 questions for each one of them, and we'll start actually from policy going to export, right? And so we'll start from Mr. Hugh O'Brien and going that way. So the first 2 question is for Mr. Hugh Bryan, and we have decided that we'll ask 2 of them at once so that they can just flow into their discussion. The first question is, what specific policy, reforms, or incentives are being introduced to attract more investment in value-added agriculture in Belize? And how is the ministry supporting agri-tech adoption and post-harvest infrastructure that can improve export competitiveness across the sector? Because I want them to really take their time and do what they need to do. I will leave that question to Mr. Hugh for him to continue this.
Thank you, Mr. Usher. And this question really deserves a fairly long and strategic presentation because it's a loaded question. As a foundation, I'd like to start and I'd combine the response to the 2 questions in one response that flows from the supporting mechanisms and incentives towards what some of the results, because people, you just spoke about fancy speeches. People want to hear the numbers and the outcomes. So as a matter of policy, agricultural inputs, equipment in particular, is automatically duty-free once it's cleared to be used for agricultural, for farming. And now more than ever, agro-processing equipment also has that avenue. I have to say that back in the previous to 1998, I like to use that year, there was a culture in government that once you have an investor buying equipment and so forth, and you allow them to get duty exemption, that you are short-changing the government of revenues. I got to say that now, today, it's very well accepted. The investment unit, BELTRAIDE, Ministry of Agriculture, a culture of understanding. You don't tax people when they're investing. You tax the products or the results when it's going to the market. Because the philosophy was very prehistoric, very British, and where it was to hold back investment. So in the halls of government, particularly within our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, BELTRAIDE, and the investment unit, that principle is very, very well established and can easily be argued and justified from any economic standpoint. Now, because of that policy change, the investment unit, working closely with BELTRAIDE and the Ministry of Agriculture, have streamlined, made significant changes in the legislation, and have avenues now for small, medium, and large enterprises in all ranges to apply, from a simple application form that offers you access to duty exemptions up to $1 million in investment, to a more sophisticated avenues like the first called the export processing zone, and now specifically referred to as a designated processing overseas. So these avenues are all available. And in terms of how the ministry relates and move these things forward, the Minister of Agriculture, he is not here because he's in meetings with the IDB and IFAD. He has specifically sent out very clear signal from day one. You may remember 2020, open the borders. So we know that our counterparts in Mexico, in Guatemala, in the Caribbean, they have all sorts of barriers too. Belize is a very open country. We import almost anything from almost anywhere. But you know what? It's hard to export anything to these countries. And it's a major, major problem for us. So you know what we did? Let the borders flow, let free trade. And so we don't call it contraband. We say it's informal exports. Creates a challenge for us because we can't record the numbers in our official statistics. But Mr. Minister Habet will know, and up in the north, the people will know that the corn and the beans and the soybeans and the cattle and the pigs and the chickens are all going. In fact, we estimate that the exports to Guatemala is in close to $200 million worth of value. All right. Now we have a Baja person at the board, and we're tracking what these numbers are, and more things are going. More recently, coconuts have started to go left, right, and center by the truckloads. I'm saying that to you because apart from doing that, the ministry, working with Ministry of Foreign Trade, we've aggressively pursuing markets for coconuts in the U.S. We have avenues there. We can now export green coconuts without the husk to the U.S. We have all the technical clearance for green coconuts with the husk, but thanks to Trump and his policies, they have us on standstill right now. You know, that guy is a little, I don't want to say the word here because he may be hearing me. We also have opened up the market. Minister May himself and the Minister of Agriculture in Mexico, he has kind of given us a window. So I believe is the only country that can export green coconuts to Mexico. Our first shipment is going towards the end of September or early October, and that will open up a big avenue for green coconuts for Belize. In addition to that, we can speak about the recent arrangements, again, through foreign trade, working closely with Baja in the ministry, where Belize passed the Taiwan food safety requirements with flying colors, and we all set in October, November to send our first shipment of shrimp to Taiwan. 3 years ago, Belize produced 1 million pounds of shrimp. 2025, we will have 3 million pounds of shrimp. Our production is being held back because we want some more market access. We're shipping it to Mexico. Yesterday, you heard the presentation. It's not in the records because it's going through the back or it's being informally exported. We want to change some of that as much as possible, access the duty-free access to Quintana Roo market, and take advantage of the Taiwan partial scope agreement that we have with Belize. To summarize what these things are doing and the support that the ministry and the government in general is giving, and we are a very serious team player. We don't take credit, we share the credit. We share hemp, we work with growth industries, we work with foreign trades, and for us it doesn't matter. We do the work, we don't mind other people taking the credit because we are one government, one people, one country, and we have to learn that within the halls of government. We are all fighting about sometimes who should work and who should take the credit. That's not my territory, you know. I work behind the scenes and then let other people take the credit. But I want to just summarize and conclude, William.
Yes.
170 million in investments in the last 3 years, coconut processing and packaging for export and so on. It's over 70 million. You have in juices and fresh juices, another 60 million in poultry, 30 million. Total investments about 170 or more, not including things like chocolate and other investment in Belize in the last 3 years. It's a major sign of the confidence. In fact, some of you guys are here in poultry processing, in chocolate manufacturing. You guys are here. There's a major confidence level that has risen to a new level in this country. Thanks to leadership of some of my, I can't say ministerial colleagues, but my colleagues, my friends.
Thank you very much, Mr. O'Brien. Certainly, we like to hear of the 170 million investment and growing, certainly after this. My next panelist, Ms. O'Meara, the question to her is, how can CARDE support Belize in integrating climate-smart technologies and research to improve crop quality and year-round availability for processors? That's question number one. And question number two, what models of regional collaboration have proven successful in scaling agro-processing, and how can Belize tap into them through CARDE's network?
Thank you for the question, William. Welcome to
Just
everybody.
let everybody know she has 6 minutes starting now.
Now. Okay, my name is Omaira Avila Roston, and the CARDE, and not just CARDE, you could hear me properly? Oh, sorry. Not just CARDE, but all the institutions, including the Ministry of Agriculture, we're working together to make available the planting material and the varieties required. In agro-processing, the equipments are key, but the planting material is what you owe. If you know anyone who produces a product, they want to own that seed that produces the adequate fruit, cost efficient, safe, not chemical, and high yielding. That research is the research that we have been doing, creating or identifying what are the coconuts that could be put in the industry to measure the industry for water, for oil. So we are working and creating commodity linked to product. That is how the industry will move forward. You cannot just say soursop. Soursop for what? For pulp, soursop for juice, coconut for water, coconut for oil. What is the product you want to produce? That is the research. That is the background. 10 years talk to the government, to CARDI, to ITC, and thank you to the funding from the European Union that we were able to engage people in the industry. But that is through supporting the industry to know the material are there. When an investor come, they want to know, tell me what I plan, what I buy, and how I could process it. That's the work we do. It. Hot pepper is the same way. Most of you say habanero. I have a problem with that. That's hot pepper, Wesindi or Moruga, developed by Cardi. Okay? But as Mr. O'Brien said, the credit is habanero is actually a variety. Okay? But the important things, the seeds are there. A farmer come and say, I planted for my shop. I want this. And that's what we are doing. Corn for small farmers. So variety is key. And we have worked a lot to try to make sure there are the varieties available. Right now we're working with sweet potato, 54 lines in country. And the latest, as you read, is wheat. How many of you talk about tropical wheat? We are right now evaluating the possibility of, we have 100 lines, 15 being evaluated now, and 50 later in the year to see what is available. Rice, we need new varieties. So all these lines, elite lines are being produced to whoever comes. Now, the second point is pests and diseases. The issue with pests and diseases is management, and we need to identify technologies that help farmers to know how best to produce, how safe integrated pest management, use of drone for applications, use biorational products. So we are working to identify technologies. Right time of the year to plant, year-round production. You might not need the same variety for year-round. You just need the product year-round. What you need to know when you plant and what and for what. So that is where the technical information comes. Our doors are open to come, technical advice farmers, any investor. And we also have work in the part of table, field to table. What are the technologies required for waste management, circular economy? Coconut, my biggest fear is 60% of the nut is waste. What are we doing? We need to open industry, biofibers, biochar. We in Trinidad started with some soils. They use soil from green coconuts. So those are technologies available, and we promoting. Now, we not invest on it, but we are open to support any investor to move them forward. Flavor rum, coconut rum. Now, networking. Cardi has presence in 14 Caribbean countries. We have scientific in every area related to agriculture, and we have major link with international germplasm collection, SIAT, CEMET, Wolvege. Right now, we are testing varieties from them, and we have direct relationship with them. That's the network we have been open for Belize, and also the fact that Belize agriculture sector could link with other in the region. Because it's important to know that what you produce is only a little amount. We need together. The coconut industry is the Caribbean industry. That means everybody put a little bit. Now, the beauty of Belize is they have the land, it has the location, it's a gym, and that is what we try to sell. So entrepreneurs could come. We are trying to support you to show you that if you own the seed, you own the product. If you don't own the seed, you don't own the product. So you come, you tell us which variety, it's up to you. You decide how much control you have. And that is what I have to say. I don't know.
Thank you very much, Ms. Omira. I think the minds are opening, and certainly from an investment standpoint, we want to be able to contact Cardi. You see, a lot of times we want to do certain things, and we want to do it by ourselves. And the reality is, these institutions are here for a reason, for you to understand that these seeds, for example, you have the ROC as well, who is doing a lot of stuff in relation to animals, small stock. They are here, so it's the issue of using these resources that exist to allow for the investment. So thank you very much, Ms. O'Meara, and a gentleman that requires not a whole lot of introduction, but certainly that uses or understand what we have in the country and looking at investment within the country for for food and drinks. So, Mr. Bowen, the two questions for you is: as a strong national brand, Boeing and Boeing considering expansion into export. As a strong national brand, is Boeing and Boeing considering expansion into export markets? If so, what key factors are driving or holding back that decision? Very important question. Number two, what investment or partnership do you see would be needed to take a domestic product line, as Ms. O'Meara is talking about, such as juices, food snacks, or snack foods, into the CARICOM or Central American market? I will leave that basically open. You discuss how you want it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to take the whole 6 minutes because so Bonen's been around for a long time. In 7 years, we're going to be 100 years old. And I don't think normally people think of us as an agro producer. But currently, we use over half the local domestic sugar that is consumed. And we turn that into a finished good. And you're taking a local product and making a finished good and adding additional value and add additional home jobs and engineering jobs and a lot of back office things. So if we were a sole importer, and then just distributor, of course you could do that. But that negates the additional secondary jobs that come in with having engineers and managers and so forth. So from that point, we've been an agricultural producer for over 50 years now. Actually from the 40s, so longer than 50 years. And recently we moved into starting to produce corn snacks. So we work with local farmers. We made this investment. We could have taken a decision to bring in corn flour as an imported product and then put water in it and making cornstarch and making corn chips. But we made the decision to invest into the facility to be able to work with local farmers and convert local products into a chip. And one of our ambitions to do that was not only to expand our product line locally, but also have this potential of a product that we can start exporting. But one of the challenges that always happens is CARICOM has its different challenges to get into. So it is a market of 7 million people, and long bigger than that if you include some of the observing members. But you have to own your local market first. You have to create a brand, and you have to be able to have robust sales, and that's where you start. And once you start having a local brand that can dominate and own and have robustness, then you can start pushing out to the CARICOM. So we're still building this brand. We launched it. We learned. We thought we were better than we were on a brand building perspective because we have some very recognizable brands in Belize, Pelican and Coca-Cola. Pelican being ours and Coca-Cola being international, of course. But learned that you have to then start saying, this is a brand that no one knows. We launched products and we thought we'd be able to get them in, but no one knows the brands. And you have to build with local brands, local taste, and then you can have a product that can actually start exporting out. Because we have the capacity and we invested the front of it. So therefore, we're still getting this under our belt to be able to figure that out. And as far as additional opportunities, I think they're vast. And there's so many products that we import. And instead of looking at the possibility of export, if we looked at the possibility of import substitution, which is almost a form of export because you're saving your local funds and you're replacing it, but you're also bringing all those jobs that were somewhere else. And those jobs are the ones that are higher paying. You need engineers, you need mechanics, you need managers and business associates. You bring that infrastructure here because, of course, when you buy an imported product, all that G&A, all that covering cost is somewhere else. And you're paying for that. You're paying some other country to be able to employ their citizens and their people and keep that money at home. And of course, the other side of it, they can, I won't use the word dump, but they can actually afford to push products outside their countries at a lower price because they've covered their base at home. And that's one of our goals, is actually bring that employment here because, yeah, if I look at our job actually, so on our beverage side of a business, or the Bowen side of a business, we're about 1,250 people. As a group, we're about 1,600. But if I were to just be the distribution front end, it would be less than half. Because most of our jobs and our higher paying jobs are in the production side and agro-processing side of it. But it comes down to, where's this opportunity to speak with Akardi and saying, what is the products locally? And then we can then say, what can we convert? And then how do you have this balance between the local farmer that might not have enough production to support a local production on an agro-processing base? But how do you keep that farmer and esteem that, but also then supplement probably with an additional commodity base until they can build up that capacity to support a local production? And that's been a challenge actually so far. So, I mean, a small example is we import peanuts from Trinidad. Trinidad doesn't grow peanuts. They bring them in from somewhere, they fry them and add some flavor, put it in a package, all of a sudden it becomes a product of CARICOM and we can import it. But there's a challenge now working with how do we then buy peanuts locally, which there isn't enough of at the moment, but also then supplement it. And then once you see this flow coming in, local farmers could actually start producing more and more products at a higher and higher quality because they see a venue and an outlet for their product base. So that would be something else. Actually, and listening to you, one of the things that just popped in my head in this conversation, I would love to have a conversation with you about the possibility of looking at sorghum varieties.
Well, we have 14, we have a collection of peanuts, 14 different varieties that we have been, you could hear me? Yeah. Adapted. So you just, right now they are on the field. You could come and see which one, what is your flavor pattern, what you're looking for. And that is it. And that is the situation. A lot of people planting one variety over and over. They have a less number of varieties there that could do better than the one you think you have.
Well, I'll take that as an invitation. So I'm no, but also, and we'd also love to have a conversation because there's a lot of research that's gone into sorghum varieties, and then you can actually make a beer out of a sorghum. It has a little bit different flavor and it's a little bit different, more unique, but we love to explore those kind of things. Because we're seeing there's endless possibilities of things that we import. CARICOM had this a goal of 25 by 25. So they wanted 25% of all products, all food consumption to be produced inside CARICOM by 2025. Unfortunately, we didn't hit it. So now they moved it to 30 by 2030. And I don't think we're still gonna hit it. And I've been privy to be in a lot of these private sector organization conversations where this is a goal. And one of the things that happens is they talk about Guyana a lot, but they don't talk about Belize a lot. And I think there's this opportunity that if we extend ourselves out into the Caribbean and have more partnerships, and this is partly one of the reasons I think holds us back in exporting is that you get hit with non-tariff trade barriers because we're exporting into a country. Whereas if we reached into these countries and formed these partnerships, had off-takers on the other side that were vested in clearing it from the ports, we'd actually have a lot more freedom to get our products in and avoid these non-tariff trade barriers that we don't even know exist until they get into the country. Because country wants to protect their own. I mean, every one of these countries has a poultry industry. They have their broilers. They don't grow corn, though. But in Belize, we grow our own corn. And chicken is nothing more than corn, really. So therefore, we should have this ability to go into the Caribbean. But if we went into the final users, the retailers, and partnered with them, I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to be able to find markets all through the Caribbean. And these are the kind of connections and dots we need to do. And I think there's a lot of appetite to be able to get that once we start finding those connections. And the investment for appetite's here. It's just how do you bridge these gaps along the way?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Bowen. As I say, he said he won't take the 6 minutes, but just shows you that this thing is very dynamic and it's quite good where we are going. We have 14 more minutes and 6 minutes for Mr. Braun, which means basically the remainder is for question and answers. So get ready for your question and answer, questions. I'm sure there's a lot. But Mr. Braun, Michael spoke about the issue of opportunities in the Caribbean, and so let's see what Mr. Brown has to say. As a company already exporting Belizean grains, what lessons can be shared about navigating logistics, quality standards, and market access for agro-products? And the next question, demonstrate the progression, for example, and future thinking of Belcar in light of that. Mr. Brown.
Thank you. It's an honor for me to speak on behalf of Belcar Export and Import Company Limited, a farmer-owned agro-enterprise based in Spanish Lookout. For over 2 decades, we've proudly contributed to Belize's export economy, shipping more than 15 million pounds of high-quality beans, corn, soybean oil, and other grains annually to markets across CARICOM and beyond. So just for you to understand what we're doing, right? So what we have learned is there's 4 basics that you have to have when you export. One is you have to have the market access, quality control, logistics, and product pricing. So each one of these 4 items you have to have. You cannot be without them when you export. So for market access, you have to have a customer base. First of all, we have to have a customer that's willing to buy the product, right? And quality control, you cannot ship a product if the quality is not good. The customer is not going to accept it, right? And logistics delivers products efficiently and safely. And product pricing ensures competitiveness and profitability. So you cannot take out one of these and still be exporting. It's not going to work. You have to have four of these items. So on the market access, you can't export if you don't have a market. Gaining access means building buyer relationships and meeting import requirements of other countries. So the buyer network and demand is very important. You need the customers to actually get things accomplished. And on number 2, the quality control, why it matters is buyers want consistent, safe, and high quality products. So one bad shipment can end in long-term taking away the contract. So one bad shipment can end a long-term contract, right? So it's very important that the quality is good. So we do processing, we have cleaning, grading, color sorting, and temperature control, moisture. So these are very important. And traceability and transparency in quality control is also very important. And logistics, why it matters, even with the best product, you lose customers if you can't get it delivered on time, in good condition, and at a reasonable cost. So talking about logistics, reliable transportation, road, port, and at a reasonable cost. We already heard about port yesterday. Port limitations, shipping limitations. I heard from a number of speakers yesterday saying that climate change is real, right? And that it's the elephant in the room. But the way I see it, the way we see it, climate change is not the problem, because the Almighty is the one that controls the weather, right? For us, the elephant in the room is more the port limitations and the shipping limitations. That is the elephant in the room. And then on the product pricing, cost production versus global prices is always a challenge. For us to produce agricultural items that are cost effective enough to go into the CARICOM market is always a challenge. Fuel prices and the total cost. So that is always a challenge, the cost of production. So each of these pillars is essential. If one fails, the export process fails. At Belcar, we're not just exporters. We are a farmer-driven enterprise committed to growing Belize agriculture potential and creating opportunity. As we look to the future, we remain focused on expanding value-added processing, strengthening our supply chain, and creating new market opportunities for Belizean agriculture. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brown. Instead of summarizing, what I want to do is to allow for questions because I know it's burning, right? So we have all panelists here. Please, in any which order you want to ask your question, just indicate who, and we'll follow you. Yes, sir. Just wait for the mic there.
Yes, a question for Mr. O'Brien. So you mentioned that there's a lot of informal trade with Guatemala, with Mexico, and my question is, what is the cost to Belize of having this informal trade? I mean, what is it that is it okay to have it to be informal, or would it be much better? I mean, or is it preventing, for example, investments to add value, investments in certifications, etc.?
You mind if I?
The products that are, okay.
So mine's not working.
The products that are going are both raw and processed products. There's no cost to the country. There's no losses to the country. There's value being brought in by the fact that foreign exchange is coming in. The biggest problem it creates for us is that our country cannot report those trade values formally to the IMF, the IDB, the World Bank. And so, for example, the official statistics will show that our animal feed exports have gone down because we were shipping a lot to CARICOM. But now our animal feed exports has gone up, but the CARICOM exports have gone down because the informal one has quadrupled. So we're exporting more, but our official statistics say we're exporting less animal feed. But apart from that, there's the employment benefits, there's a trade, there's the transactions, there's the financial benefits, investment. In fact, many people are depending, in the case of cattle, it is where we pivoted. Our local market was too small. So we pivoted the expansion of the cattle industry because we only consume 8,000 to 10,000 heads a year here. So our industry was stuck at 60,000 heads in population. But by opening up the market to allow it to go, we're now exporting 35,000 heads to Guatemala. And we were able to pivot off of that foundation. William is the chairman, the manager of the Belize Livestock Producers Association. By pivoting off of Guatemala now, this year we'll be exporting about 8,000 heads to Mexico, and we're hoping that we could do more formal and less informal, but that comes with, we have to maintain a balance, and we try to move it in a certain pathway. It's a structured, a little strategic move, because the, let's say, local market is small. Mexico and U.S. has blocked exports from Mexico to the U.S., so we have that challenge that we face there. We are very strategic on how we manage that portfolio. In the case of coconuts, that is creating a gap, a price increase, and it's stimulating more interest and investment in coconuts. So, yeah.
But as a pragmatic solution, the informal trade going into Guatemala, I think, is a great thing, because there's been an informal trade coming into Belize for years. And these countries have set up barriers not allowing Belizean products to go in. So for the long term, it's not going to be the best, right? Because you want to bring it in, make it part of your formal GDP. But in the interim, I fully support the government's position on allowing this to happen because of the fact that they've not allowed our products to come in, but freely push products into Belize, and then we have a wide open border. And so once the products start to move in, it demonstrates that it does have the quality. It is being accepted in the product, and now you can actually take it in and formalize it. So it might be it might be an informal pathway and a typical pathway to breach markets, but all of the 100% support that position. So congratulations to you on making that happen.
If the government wants to stop it, we could stop it today because Baja is there and the police are there. But then I will resign as the chairman of Baja.
Okay, guys. Time is actually up, but I want to give one more question, 1 minute for question and answer. Mr. Habet.
So I also have one more question. I mean, actually, thank you very much for putting the summit together because, one, I got an invitation to Cardi, and I'm going to go visit peanuts when talking about sorghum. And two, just before we sat down, I think there's this opportunity to look at Belcar and say, how do we then say, is there a partnership that happens, or just a conversation that spurs a different business opportunity where we start producing, invest in retort machines, where we do in canning, and replace some of those imported products that come in. So beans are coming into Belize on the shelf that are canned, and we could produce those here. And so just by sitting next to you and having that conversation, whether or not that goes anywhere, I think that's a big valuable So I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to do things here locally that should be done, and then we can push it into the Caribbean once we start getting better and knowledgeable about it.
He just took up the 1 minute, but
Yes.
it's an important
I'm probably going
minute.
to take up
It's an
another minute
important
too,
minute.
so don't worry.
To follow up on Michael's last statement on doing things locally here, Omaira, do we have a seed bank for some of these important seed materials? I was just talking to someone from Toledo who is growing vanilla, and she was using the other imported varieties, but she found a local domestic variety. How do we ensure that this domestic variety is put into a seed bank so we don't lose it?
30
She
seconds,
bring it to
Mr.
Cardi.
Mayor.
She bring it to Cardi. Right now, Cardi is in a drive to get the planting material, local planting material, cacao, all the varieties, gene banks. We have to get with the government to see where can we plant this. But the idea is exactly that. We started a ginger and turmeric. We already have over 20 varieties on site. We have cassava, 15 varieties, peanuts. We have corn. We're trying to start the program for the Three Sisters. Now, diversity is being lost very quickly, but biodiversity is being lost economically. If you own the seed, you own the product. So I encourage coffee, cacao, vanilla, ginger. We need to know what we owe, and that is what is not. So Cardi have at present a collection for crops. We will have to talk more with the government because what we are doing, we're doing the nuclear seeds, but they must produce in case somebody wants. And we could have further conversations with you to see if something better could be done.
Mr. Mario, I'll have to stop you there. We will continue this conversation with each other. I'm sure there's a lot to converse here. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. And sorry for the extended time.